Welcome everyone to this very special explainer. Tonight we're just going to slow right down. So settle in, get real comfortable, and let's explore a truly beautiful, comforting truth together. We're talking about the extraordinary bond between humans and our pets. It's a connection so deep it honestly feels a little bit like magic.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt the warm hug of a loyal friend? Just think about that quiet, incredibly comforting feeling when an animal simply sits right by your side, offering you this silent companionship. It's this overwhelming feeling of absolute safety and peace, isn't it? Well, tonight we're going to look at two remarkable stories that show us exactly what that loyalty looks like when it really, truly matters most.
Okay, let's dive into this first section, the magic of furry friends. You see, the real magic of these companions isn't just in their playful energy or, their soft coats. It's actually in the gentle, totally unseen ways they protect us, standing as quiet guardians in our lives. And our very first story, well, it comes from a tiny village nestled right near these beautiful rolling green hills.
Which brings us right to our first tale, Max and the Lantern. So our story begins with a small brown dog named Max and his absolute best friend in the whole world, a little boy named Adam. Now, every single morning, Max would happily trot right beside Adam all the way to school, his tail just wagging the entire time with pure, simple love. But, as these things go, the weather shifted drastically one evening. Adam had actually stayed late at school to finish up a drawing project. And outside, dark clouds completely swallowed the sky. Heavy rain just started pouring down everywhere, literally turning the roads into these muddy, really slippery paths. All the while, this strong, howling wind blew through the quiet village. Adam was walking home all alone, and as you can imagine, he felt very small and pretty scared in the dark. So, tracking Adam and Max's journey that night, it starts in the evening with Adam leaving school in the dark, nervously making his way down the road. But just minutes later, he hears something behind him over the roar of the rain. A soft bark. Woof. Woof. You guessed it, it was Max. This brave little dog had braved the heavy storm just to find his boy. And right around Max's neck was a small, glowing lantern, tied there by Adam's mother. That warm, gentle light pierced right through the darkness, helping Adam finally see the slippery road clearly. Just a short walk later, the two of them reached this small wooden bridge going over a rushing river. Now, because of the torrential rain, the bridge looked terribly weak and super dangerous. The wood was totally slick. Adam was simply way too afraid to cross. But brave little Max, he slowly walked onto the wood first, showing his boy exactly where to step safely. Step by step, they crossed together in the dark. But then, Adam's foot slipped near the edge. "Max!" Adam shouted into the wind, and in an absolute flash of quiet bravery, little Max sprang into action. He quickly grabbed Adam's jacket right in his teeth, planted his paws firmly on the wood, and literally pulled his best friend back to safety. Adam just threw his arms around his loyal dog, hugging him so tightly in the rain, crying tears of absolute relief.
Finally, under that dark night sky, Adam and Max made it to the warm, welcoming glow of their home. Adam's parents were just overjoyed to see them safe. They immediately dried them off, wrapping brave Max in this warm, cozy blanket and giving him a massive bowl of delicious food. Honestly, the raging storm outside didn't even matter anymore because they were completely, wonderfully safe inside.
Later that night, as the rain just tapped so softly against the window pane, Adam leaned right over to his loyal friend and whispered, "You are not just my dog, you are my hero." And Max? He simply closed his eyes happily, feeling totally safe, and drifted off to a deep sleep right beside his best friend.
Now, what's really interesting about this next section, Snowy the Little Hero, is how the scene completely changes. For our second tale, we're leaving that rainy village behind and heading straight into a freezing, snowy city. It was a bitter, brutally cold winter night. A kind woman named Sophia was walking home from work. Snow was slowly blanketing the city streets in pure white, and a biting, cold wind just whispered right through the dark alleyways. Everyone else was hurrying inside to their nice, warm houses. But as Sophia walked, she heard this super soft little whimper near a small alley, and she just stopped dead in her tracks. She looked over near a trash bin and found this rescued puppy. He was tiny and white, but shaking terribly from the freezing cold. His little white fur was covered in dirt, and he was holding up a hurt little paw. He just looked so hungry and so scared. Well, Sophia slowly knelt down, speaking really softly to him. "It's okay, little one," she whispered. The puppy looked up into her eyes and bravely moved just a bit closer. Sophia didn't even hesitate. She took off her own warm scarf, gently wrapped the shivering puppy up inside it, and carried him all the way home through the falling snow.
Once they were finally safe inside her warm, bright home, Sophia carefully cleaned his injured paw. She gave him a big bowl of warm milk and some food. And oh my goodness, for the very first time, the tiny puppy happily wagged his tail. Sophia smiled and said, "I'll call you Snowy." As the days passed, Snowy grew super healthy and playful, just completely filling Sophia's home with funny little jumps and happy barks.
But, one quiet evening, everything suddenly changed. Sophia started feeling really sick. Out of nowhere, the room began to spin and she fainted, falling right to the kitchen floor. She was completely unable to reach her phone to call for help. The whole apartment was just incredibly still. And this brilliantly illustrates Snowy's brave rescue. Snowy absolutely knew his friend was in trouble. Right away, step 1, he started barking loudly. Woof, woof, woof. Then, step 2, he ran out and began scratching frantically at the neighbor's door, just over and over, until they finally opened it. He led the neighbors straight back to Sophia. And for step 3, because of Snowy's incredibly quick, heroic actions, the neighbor found Sophia, and an ambulance arrived just in the nick of time.
A few days later, Sophia returned home, totally safe and sound. She knelt right down, hugged Snowy so tightly with tears in her eyes, and whispered, "You saved my life, my little hero." Snowy just wagged his tail happily and rested his soft head right against her. And from that very day on, I can tell you, Sophia and Snowy were never, ever lonely again.
Let's move to our final section here and see how this builds. Kindness always comes back. Because you see, both of these gentle bedtime stories share a really beautiful common thread that we can all hold on to tonight.
These comforting stories show us such a clear picture of the magic of mutual rescue. On one hand, we see the absolute power of loyalty, like Max braving the rain and the terrifying dark just to stay beside his friend when Adam needed him the most. And on the other hand, we see the profound power of kindness, like Sophia saving a shivering puppy from the freezing snow, only for that very same kindness to return and literally save her own life when Snowy fetched the neighbor. This right here is the true magic we're talking about. It's this continuous, completely unbreakable circle of love.
So, what does this all mean for us? Well, it brings us to a final, soothing thought to wrap up our explainer. Who is the loyal hero resting beside you tonight? Seriously, whether it's a dog sleeping softly at the foot of your bed, a cat purring away in the next room, or maybe simply the really warm memory of a furry friend from your past, remember the magic of that bond. They truly are our quiet guardians. Thank you so much for joining me for these stories tonight. Sleep well, stay warm, and always, always cherish the gentle friends in your life.